I think we're ready. What do you say? Should we kick it off?
Let's do it.
All right. So Lindsay and I are here from Lisio, and we have Lynda Artesani from your new company, Linda. I'm going to let you announce that
I
your new
know.
your new branding.
Mhm.
And Lindsay and I are here really just to facilitate. So we're going to go on mute, and we're going to kick off with Linda.
Thank you. So I'm sure everybody's really excited to make 2021 the year you get your client documents on time. And of course, we're sponsored by Lisio. So we're going to start just dive right in here. So we're going to set our vision right now. And I think some of you might know I'm a yoga teacher. So I'd like you to actually sit back in your chair, kind of ground your feet, and set your sits bones, those little bones in the bottom, you're sitting on your chair. Just lean back and close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths, maybe roll the shoulders back and down. Yeah, this is a nice time to relax before we get really started. As you close your eyes, just imagine for a moment what our day would feel like if the following things came true. You had everything you needed to do your job, all your paperwork, all the answers to your questions, everything. Clients sent in the key documents when you asked for them. Imagine no chasing, no emailing, no hunting in various locations for things that may or may not have been sent. Your staff can see across all of the documents, no matter who dealt with them. And your firm is not only retaining great clients, but your clients are also referring others to you. That might sound a little bit of a dream or perhaps too good to be true, but I'm here to tell you it's actually achievable. And it all hinges on your offer to your clients and how you work in your firm. So yes, I'm Lynda Artesani, and even though it says Artesani Bookkeeping, I just rebranded my firm to be called Artesani Accounting, and I still can't even imagine saying it yet. I've been rebranding has been interesting. I've been trying to catch all the different places. It's incredible how many places that your name shows up. But thank you, and I am here, and I'm partnering with Lisio as part of their Year of the Client webinar series, which is really awesome. Just a little bit about myself. I am the president of Artesani Accounting here in Southwest Florida. We've had it really probably the best weather in the country of late. And I recently niched my practice out to work exclusively with law firms and attorneys. So that's been my gig for a few years now. That's been a fun journey. I'm really excited and enjoying doing that kind of work. It's been very challenging, but fun, niching out the firm. I'm also the co-founder of a Facebook group called QB Community Live that I partner along with my partner, Matthew Fulton. So we have a really cool group. If you're not a part of it, we'd love to have you. Members of our group really are there to share their experiences and their business challenges. And we just kind of work together as a collective whole to help each other. And our motto is together, we all succeed. So here's why I'm really passionate about this topic. There's so many places a client can reach out to you. Just think about it for a moment. They can call you. That's probably the worst thing anybody can ever do with me. Oh, I don't know why this keeps sliding forward. They just call me and I see the phone call come in, but I'm in a meeting and then I don't go back to it. And that usually is a problem for me because I'll be like on Friday, I'll end up calling people back, and that's not a great client experience, right? Or maybe they send you a message on Instant Messenger. Or maybe they send you a message on your Facebook page. Have that happen as well, where they'll write a message. And if you've ever gone into that page, it's like, I see I've got a message, but I can't really figure out where that is. Or worse, they'll text me and I'll be like, okay, I look at it, then I forget about it because now it's read. Or they Slack me. And if they Slack me the same thing, I read it and then I need to go back and make it unread. So I go back to remember it's there. How many of you have had that happen? It can get stressful. It can get confusing. They can, there's just so many ways that they can reach out to you. And have you ever had that moment where you wake up at 2:00 in the morning and you're like, oh, I forgot to reach out to your client, right? It's just so easy to maybe overlook a document or overlook a message from your client. We also have this problem on the client side. How many of you have had it where you've asked for a document and then the client doesn't respond, and then you ask again, or ask for maybe some documents, that bank statements, for example. Maybe you don't have the login, and can I have them? And then they don't give it to you, and then another month goes by, and the scenario can get really stressful. And then it gets to the point where you feel like you're kind of nagging or really harassing the client, because they're there and they're getting the messages, or maybe they're not. Maybe their email is stacking. Has anybody ever had that happen, where you've got the stacking of the email and you didn't see an email, but when you kind of unroll it, you see it? But I found a solution that I'm going to cover in the subsequent slides and help you to see ways that we can mitigate some of these problems and make it a better experience for your client. So our agenda today, right? We're going to set the vision. We just did that. That's the vision that I had you sit back and think about. I want you to actually imagine that's in your life. Imagine how much less stress you'd have, right? So it's very similar to that. You just kind of feel like stress-free. And I want we're going to go over your role in your client response times. And it's going to help us kind of dig in to figure out what will work the best. And we're going to talk about the technology and the tools that we can use to get to that. And then we'll leave some space for Q&A. So those are the things we're going to attempt to work on. I don't know, this is moving on its own. We're going to cover today. The best part is we did the number one, and I hope we're going to just hope you can sit back and relax. I know we're all busy at this time. Sit back and relax, and we'll just go through this one at a time. So let's take, this is moving on its own, and I swear to God, my hands are on here. So our role in getting the documents on time. So I had you look at your perfect day, right? So I had you look at it, and I had you imagine it, and that you had everything you needed in order to get that work done for your clients. Your clients responded very quickly. Maybe your clients respond quickly to your requests, and you get everything organized and tracked and visible. And that's the goal, right? We want to get the client request out. We want to get the documents in. We want it to be a perfect experience. And if you can imagine that actually happening in your firm, and the best thing, if you can imagine it happening in your firm where you don't even have to really work with, all right, I had so-and-so didn't show up. Maybe they were sick, and now I have to shift a staff member onto this, or a team member. How do I have this work in my firm that they maybe don't have access to the documents, or maybe the documents are in a place that they don't have access to because it's not their client, but the client had an immediate need. How do we have this work a nice flow that we can actually shift somebody over and it happens seamlessly? So our firm plays a big role into that part of getting the documents on time from the client, asking for them, getting them, and then it also maybe not getting them on time. So we want to really start to look at how we're asking them and how we can make it a better client experience. That's the main goal here. So we're going to walk in our client's shoes and just think about their typical day. So this is crazy. So I work with attorneys, and I know the typical day for my attorneys. The last year, they spent a lot of time in their office, fortunately, but now they're starting to go to court. Some states are opened up and they're going to court. So think about their perfect day, and that's their typical day. How do they end up? Where are they on their job? Maybe you work for a contractor, and maybe they're out in the field, right? So you have those kind of scenarios. So I think it's best to sit and think of your client. Maybe you have different clients. Where do they spend the majority of their day? So when you're sending out that email, what percentage of time are they away from their desk? So that's part of understanding maybe why we're not getting the documents back. So we spend time trying to be really clear on what we want from our client. We give them a really great, clear email. Maybe we give them a deadline. Maybe we give them a portal to, link up to, so they have to log into the portal. They have to get the document. They have to read the email, get the document, and upload it into a portal. So there's a whole bunch of steps. And what if they are on a job site? Maybe they're remodeling a home and they're on the job site and they're looking down and going, oh, I forgot to give Lynda the document that she asked me for. So if you take the time to really unpack what you're asking them to do, right? If they're at their desk all day, it might be easier because maybe they can pull the document up. But if they're at a job site and they have the slip in the truck, they have to maybe find a way to take a picture of it. Maybe they take it out with their phone. I'm curious how many people here have actually asked for a document and got that. And I always laugh because I used to work with contractors all the time. It would have a coffee stain on it, or it would be kind of crumpled, or it had been sitting in the truck for so long that the actual cover of it was kind of faded, that paper that kind of fades away. And it's like, you've been asking for this document for 6 months. And when you finally get it, it's almost unreadable. So when you think about it, when they're doing it that way, if they're actually finding the document and getting it for you, if you think about, like my mom always says, you always think about it from the perspective of what are you asking the other person to do, right? So if you think about it from that way, are you asking them to find documents when they're not actually at their desk? And you're making it easy for them to manage those documents. So if there's a huge gap between when you unpack the idea of what you want them to do and then you compare it to what they're able to do, is there a huge disconnect there that they're not able to gather the documents? And I can tell you honestly, I have had clients that I'm doing the accounting services, the bookkeeping for them, and now it's tax time and they have to ship the documents up to the cloud through their accountant's portal, their tax professional's portal. And when they go to do that, they can't remember their password because it was last year, or they can't remember their username. And then they'll actually come back to me and say, I can't figure this out. Can you do this for me? And it's like, now I have to figure out their portal to get their documents up because they don't want to do it. They're doing other things. They're busy doing what they do best, which is the main goal as an accountant or a bookkeeper for me. I always say to them, you hire me to help you so you can do what you do best. So if my attorney's in court or he's even with a client, if I'm asking for a document, they might see my email, but they don't have the time to actually get down and get to that piece of it, to get me the copy, to upload it. It's just a lot of steps. So the more steps, the more barriers you place in front of your clients. Yeah. So when clients are mostly mobile, the last thing they want to do on the go is get a document and process that request through a portal. Let's face it, that's like 5 steps. I'm always talking about how I want less clicks and 5 steps, 6 steps to get the document, scan it, take a picture of it, log into the portal, upload it to the portal. It's a ton of steps. You have to be more concise when you request the document from your client. What are you really asking them to do? Are you asking them to stop their day, go get the document, take a photo of it, upload it into the portal? Are you asking them to log into the portal, upload it? Is that what you're asking them to do? And sometimes these portals are really, they're supposed to be in place to be very secure. We always talk about security at our firm, but sometimes a lot of the security, it makes a ton of steps, a ton of barriers in place. So what happens really in the real world? Do you find that this happens, that you ask the client, and just imagine your client gets to ask, maybe they're in their car waiting for the coffee to come up to go bring the coffee back to the guys at the shop. And they look and they read it on their phone. If they see it, they actually do want to respond to you. They want to help you. They want their books done. Hey, it's tax time. They want to get the books to the tax professional. So they really want to help, but they're sitting there in their car or their truck and they're looking down at their phone and they're reading it. And then they don't have access to be able to get all the pieces for you. So they make a mental note, I got to take care of this later. Who's not done that, right? And then maybe they get back to the job site and something goes wrong and they have to go back out and take care of it. Or maybe in court, something else happens where they had to postpone it and they had to go make another hurried meeting or something. And it completely leaves their brain. So the chances of ever getting that document become slimmer and slimmer. So you have to resort to kind of badgering them. And then it starts the cycle over. And I always say, I like the word badgering because it kind of doesn't have I always think to myself, I feel like I'm nagging them. Like I think of my husband, you're always nagging. If I ask a request of him, and it almost feels like that's what I'm doing to my clients. And I know that's not a happy experience with them. And I'm curious, while I'm here, and I don't know if anybody has any questions, but while I'm here, what systems do you guys have in place for documents? And maybe Lindsay, you could do a poll to see how you document requests and how you exchange documents.
You got it. Poll is launched.
Awesome. So we have, what is your primary way of sharing documents? We have ShareFile, SmartVault, Dropbox, NetClient, Liscio, Google Drive, OneDrive, or other. And I'd love to hear the others because I know there's plenty of others out there. But are you using any of these at all for requesting client documents? And we'll show the poll answer when we have enough people responding.
Yeah, we've got people giving different answers as we go. So
Oh, wow.
SafeSend, Sync. Haven't heard of those, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and end the polling, and then I will share the results.
Awesome.
and Lynda, don't worry about the slides moving forward.
I swear to God, my hands are
really,
not touching it. And I don't know if
you
it's
must just have a very sensitive mouse or something. It's just
not even touching the mouse. That's what's weird. It's kind of forwarding on its own, but yeah. It's kind of
just
in my
excited. It just wants to know where you're going.
It wants to keep going, yeah.
Yeah, so this is
So yeah, look
interesting.
at that. So it looks like Liscio won. That's awesome. I've actually used ShareFile. So I've had it on Google Drive. I've used all of those. I mean, when you've been doing this work for so long, you kind of have the opportunity to use all of these different reports. And I probably on the other side of it used quite a few of the other ones, Dropbox and things like that, or Box, I think there's another one. So a few lines you may have heard. If you asked for the documents and asked for the documents and asked for the documents, and the answer you might get back was, I just don't have a scanner, or I didn't check my email, I'm sorry. And this is where that buried email can come into place, where they stack. If you're using Google, sometimes they stack. Can I text you? I was like, no, don't text me. Can you resend the files? How many of you have heard that one? It's like, oh, I don't need to go back and do this again, or I can't log into the portal. So they're probably all familiar to you, and you might be hearing them on a regular basis. Then you know your system's really not working that well if you're hearing the same things all over and over again. And you just know that you're just not. And really, this year, I think about making the experience with my clients better. And you always want to get better and improve. And I think that doing this will not only improve their experience, it will improve ours as well. So if you're getting those crumpled up pictures, or the pictures with coffee on them, you got to give the client credit, right? They actually made the attempt to go dig the receipt out of the van and maybe flatten it out a little bit and take the photo, right? They're showing you that they want to help you. They're actually trying to comply. Or even if you get these answers, can you resend the files? They know they've seen it and they want it. The clients really do want to help. They're not trying to be stubborn or hard to work with. They just are busy. They're just busy. So you don't want to have to sit there and do kind of arts and crafts and kind of piece together, okay, well, this says this and this says that. And you're trying to figure out this one page, maybe they give you a 5-page document. We've all seen this too. They give you a 5-page document and all the documents are there, but they're kind of not in order. We've had that happen as well. These are all symptoms that your method of requesting documents is just not working very well. So we're going to get into the 5 whys, and probably some of you have heard this method before of trying to figure out exactly what do we need to do to make it work better, and how do we figure out where we need to make the system work better for you and your client. So the 5 whys is definitely a place that you can find where the gap is between requesting from the clients to send you the documents on time, and then when the clients actually do what they actually do during their given day. So we need to understand that root cause so that we can fix that and fix the problem that's stopping the stopgap in finding out how this works. And we just ask the question. We start with asking the question why, and we just keep adding to it 5 times. So the problem statement, right? We don't have all the client documents we need to do our work. That's number 1. That's our main problem. The question is, we're going to ask why. So why don't we have all the documents we need to do our work? So we have to ask that question why 5 times to get to the root cause. And the first question is that problem statement. And you ask it in that question format, and then we get the answer, and it's because the client didn't send them. And this is where we're like, you've asked and you're not getting that answer. And it is frustrating on our side as well. So we're going to ask now, why didn't the client send them? Why didn't they send the documents that we need? And the answer is because the client didn't respond to the email request. And most of us, I'm sure, are probably doing a lot of emailing. You would hope by this day and age we wouldn't be. How many people here, and you can answer this in the chat, how many people here don't like email? Like you just don't want to deal with email anymore. You have, and I think we asked this question in our Facebook group one time, was like, how many, take a snapshot of your phone with a number on it, and how many emails you had that you hadn't opened. So it's so easy for the emails and the messaging to get kind of buried in all the junk that comes into our emails as well. It's hard to sort through the important stuff, right? It's the same for our clients. That's the problem. So why didn't the client respond to the email? The client didn't send them. The client didn't even respond to our requests. And why didn't they respond to our request? It's because our emails are not a priority to the client. And for exactly that reason, right? They didn't respond to our request because it's not important. It's not the priority. Their priority is doing their work. Their priority is absolutely going out in the field and getting the job done and dealing with the headaches on the job. My client's job is to handle their client experiences with their own clients. The accounting, yes, they want to get it done, but it's not their number one priority in their day. Their number one priority in their day is their own clients. So you have to think of it in terms of, where are they at in their day? As much as they want to do it all, sometimes we just get so busy, our day gets in the way. So why aren't our emails a priority? So we have to ask that why to get to that third answer. And the answer is because emails are so difficult to deal with on the go. And our client is not always at their desk. And that is the key thing. They're on the go all day long. So the problem with email, as you know, is you read it. And I actually tried at one point, I don't know if anybody here has tried this, but I've tried at one point to sort through my emails and make all these little folders and then have my assistant kind of plunk them all into the folders so that I could, at whatever time of day, because I'm busy with my clients, go through to find out if they've responded. And I had a folder named for everyone. I was trying to be so organized. It did not work. It failed. So I'm trying to help save you guys from the pain of that happening, where I really made sense in my head to have like everything sorted out. And it just became an epic failure because I couldn't get through everything and follow up. And then every time we had a team meeting, it's like, oh, you didn't get the documents from so-and-so. Oh, we're still waiting on this. Why isn't that done? Because we haven't got the documents back. And that's always been the major pain point for us, is to track back where those all come from. So the fifth why, right? We're going to get to the root cause. So that's why you have to ask the why to the fourth answer. So why are the emails so difficult to deal with on the go for the client? And this is your root cause, that fifth answer. It's because the clients need a way to respond that matches their mobile life, right? The mobile lifestyles. They need a secure way, right? I don't want them to be, if I'm asking, hey, I see you hired somebody. Can you send me the W-4, and can you send me the copy of the license? And can you send me all these things so I can put this person on the payroll? I don't want them emailing that to me. Oh my gosh, I don't want them emailing that to me. And so these are the things that you want to make sure they have that secure, safe, but I need something that's easy for them to do. I want them to be able to get those documents to me very simply, but very securely. That's my goal. I want it to be quiet. I want them to have a really simple place. Okay, I got asked something from Lynda. I'm going to go here to get that document to her. I know it's a place I can do it. I want something with an integrated scanner. I don't want something that's hard for me to work with. I have to go maybe into an office to scan it through. I want it to have that piece in place that the scanner can come with the application that I'm using to get that scenario happening and the work flowing to me. I want something with good storage, right? So I want it to be able for them to upload it, and then I don't have to go and tell maybe my assistant or my team person, okay, this came in from so-and-so, and I need you to put that in that folder. I don't want to have those extra steps, right? We're in 2021. We shouldn't have to be doing something that we had to do so many years ago. So I want to have maybe e-signature. Maybe I need an e-signature on a document, and I want to be able to have the ability to have that tool as well. So without those solutions, An email received on a phone is just impossible to respond to, right? If they have to take the email, read it, and then find the document and do all the steps, it just makes it so hard for the customer. And we're all about customer service, right? We want the customer to love us and make it really easy for them to communicate with us, to get the documents, and then that they're delivered safely. So that's the important piece to remember here too. So finding that technology that helps. So I know we did the poll and we saw all the ways that you can share documents with clients. Is that a way, if anybody's using their typical method, is those methods working for you? Now that we know that email is really difficult for the client, how do you have them respond using the other tools in their busy day? The longer an email sits in an inbox, you're going to start to see when you look. If you've ever ask your client, say, can I see what you got on your phone for how many emails? If they're sitting back with, I'm always amazed if a client shares their screen. I'm like, does that really say 14,855 emails? Now I know why you're not responding to me, because they're like, yeah, I just don't. And when it gets to that volume, now you're like, I can see why you don't even want to think about it, or you don't even want to look at it. I had one client, they said they just gave up and started a new email because that was their resolution to just discarding the emails. They said there was so much junk in there. So the longer it sits there, the less likely that the client will ever respond to it. And especially if they've opened it up and they've looked at it, now it's not even showing as unread, right? So now it just becomes really a difficult process. So what other options are there? So choose wisely for that modern solution. So we do have, thank God for technology, and I love technology. So to optimize your chances to get quicker responses from your clients, you need to make sure that you understand their days, how busy they are, and try not to ask them to step outside of their work day to get make them get back to their desks to help you. So you want to find something that fits seamlessly into their busy day, something that works for you and for them. Something that's mobile. So mobile is so important. You want them to be able to pick up that cell phone and be able to handle the transaction for you by just picking the phone up and not having them have to go back to their desk. If you can have it work that way, that makes it very easy for them. Something that can be used for all client communication. So from firm to client, but also client to firm. So if you can find that solution that makes it seamless for you, if you have that scenario where a client, if you have somebody working on a specific file and then for some unforeseen reason, you need to shift staff members, you want that next staff member to be able to come in and view everything that was in there for their file to be able to complete the work. So if you understand their busy days and you stop asking them to step out of their day and having them go back to their desk, it'll help you with the workflow, because really this is all about workflow. So if you can give them that secure tool that helps them to go with all the features, so the scanner, the e-signature, all those things, and you make it easy and you make it a format that's simple, that they just touch a button, you're going to make their life easier, and then you're going to get your documents. So it's a win-win for us. So this is why the client experience matters, right? You're going to present a modern face for your company. You're going to look tech forward, right? We want to look future ready. I love that hashtag. Are you future ready? Does it fit seamlessly into your client's mobile life? The documents are they easily scanned, readable, and are sent via a mobile phone? Is everything in one place? There's no spam or phishing, right? You don't have to have anything like, is that something I should be answering? So if you have an invite-in platform, you don't have to worry about all that noise that comes in with the email. Is it easy to track tasks? And that's one of my favorite features about what I love that I do, because a task feature is so important. It makes less time for your staff, and you can also charge more. So technology and tools definitely matter. And when you focus on client experience, if you're putting yourself in their shoes, they will respond faster to you if you give them a method to do that. So what do your clients really expect today? And all you have to do is look at your banking app, right? Right? Banks have already set the standard. Who hasn't used an app? I mean, you think about it, who even goes to the bank anymore to cash a check, right? You pick up your phone, you take a photo of it, and you upload it. The days of having to sit in the bank line are over, and thank goodness for that, right? You have this amazing way to take a couple of pictures and put the document up into the cloud, right? So that's what we're looking to do. And you just need to offer your clients something like that. If you can give them an app that works that easily and it's not hard to learn, right? It's not a clunky portal. It's not hard to learn. That's what you want. You want to look for something that's secure and invite only. You don't want to have it so that they have a hard time logging in. You want something that you can pick up the phone, hit the app, show your facial recognition, and then you're in, right? You want something so simple. You want a built-in scanner. You want that ability if they have receipts in their van or their truck, or even my clients that go to court and they have receipts from maybe paying filing fees. I want them to write the name of the matter and take a picture, and it's there. I have it. I don't have to ask for it. And then they don't have to worry about it so much anymore because now it's up in the cloud. You want something that has secure file sharing. Security is so important, but you want it to be simple. You want them to be able to drag and drop, or maybe in your own firm, print to the file so you can send it there. You want integrated storage. So you want everything in place. So if the documents are uploaded, it's all under one. Like if I have John Smith's account, I want all the documents he uploads to go in that one place. I don't want to have to find them and move them there. I want to eliminate that part of the workflow for my staff and keep it simple. You want that integrated e-signature. That's important. If you find that you do need that in your day-to-day workflow, it's important to have that because now we're not chasing down to have documents signed. And then you want transparency with your team members. All of these things you want to work with your tax packages and your accounting software. So if that happens with all of those things and you have that tool, then you've found the right one for your firm. So how many of you are using these things? God, I remember that phone. It was so heavy. It was so heavy. I know you can tell your age, right? I remember using that computer. I don't remember driving in that car though, I have to say, but I have seen the portal, right? So when you think about this is kind of a silly picture, but do you want to be that firm that's known for the clunky portal? Do you want to be that firm that's got the documents where you have to you're constantly having to unlock for your clients, or help worse, you have to log in to help them log into your portal, right? That can happen. I've seen that happen with people where you actually have to contact the tax professional to get your documents in there. So technology and tools definitely matter. If this is what you want to be the face for your clients, do you want to be that forward? I always say I want to be that person. I had a good friend, he's now not with us anymore, but he had a drone before anybody else had a drone. He had the first iPhone that I had ever seen in my life. I want to be that person when I talk in terms of my firm. I want to be that forward thinking person that's like ahead of technology in the best tools that can possibly be out there that check off all the boxes. Clients kind of expect that technology from us. They look to us as accountants and bookkeepers as the person. I get asked that all the time, more so today. You get asked not just accounting and bookkeeping questions, but you get asked like, do you know a great tool that works with my firm to get special reporting or stuff like this? This is something that, maybe even your clients might want to use in their firm. I know a lot of the law firms would use some of the tools that we're going to talk about in a moment. And do you want your client to be able to just pick up their phone and be able to access in a couple of moments a place to send the documents to you? You wouldn't drive a 20-year-old car, I would hope not, or work on a 20-year-old computer in a DOS or something like that, right? So if you're not using this kind of technology in your firm, why would you ask your clients to use a portal that's was developed in the 90s, right? You don't want to have that look of an old school portal. So to sum it up, you need to understand your client's typical busy day. Whenever you have an issue with your client or compliance, you want to ask yourself if you're going to if you're giving your clients a way for them to respond quickly and on the go. You want to choose a solution that works seamlessly in their day. instead of giving them another errand to run. You don't want to make yourself that person that's like, oh, I can't stand listening to I don't want to hear from my accountant or my bookkeeper. She's always bugging me for documents, or he's always driving me crazy with all these asks. So you're looking for technology that's designed around the client experience. And Liscio has such fantastic tools, and it's really solved almost all the challenges that I've had to work with in my firm. It really has been my tool. And that's why I'm really happy that they've asked me to even come here to talk about this, because I'm not going to badger my clients anymore. And in 2021, after being so isolated last year, I want to be able to have a better experience with my customers. And this is definitely a place that you can assist in helping maybe not frustrate them. So if you can come up with a solution that works better, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of start with a clean slate and maybe work on getting yourself in a place that will help you to make this task of getting documents, let's face it, it's a task, get the task off of your plate, that where you actually can get a better experience, where you're asking and you're getting what you need. So we've got this really cool quiz that you can take. I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's right on Liscio's page, but you can also get it. I'm sure they're going to put it in the chat for you. And it's a short quiz, but it's going to give you a quiz on how you feel your client experience lies on the spectrum, and be honest in it, because it's eye-opening if you're finding that maybe this is a problem in your company and that you're looking for a solution that will help guide you through. So we'll put it in the chat, and then you can see if it will work for you and your firm. I don't know if I want to give some time for anybody to try to take it, or they can take it later. It's also on the bottom of Liscio's homepage. So that's also a good place to access it to. It's a good place. I hope you all get 100, but it's a good place. It's going to give you answers and feedback on how you feel about how you think you might be able to improve it, and then see how you're doing now today. So the next steps is we're going to take a look at the way you're asking clients for documents, and work to eliminate any friction, any stop gaps, any places that you're having trouble. And we'll talk a little bit how Liscio can help you with this. We can talk to you about how to handle the experience if maybe you're new to Liscio, and what's the best ways to kind of onboard your clients here. And if you're still using email, oh my gosh, get out of email. I can tell you that in my morning, I'll have my coffee and I go into Liscio because everything's there. And it's truly is a quiet space. I'm not looking at ads from anybody. I'm not dealing with oddball things that can get me squirreling off in another direction. I sit down and I look, and I just sit and I go through the accounts and find what's going on. I can see the communication between my team and my client. I have that 100% visibility, which is so important. And then I'm not having to chase my clients, because it's so simple to drag and drop and put it right into Liscio. I've never had to explain to a client what to do. I can ask for the documents in Liscio, and then they're there. It's very, very simple. No one's ever had to have a tutorial on how to use it. That's the beauty of it. And like I said, the staff can see. So if I have to move somebody from one account to another because of whatever reason, something happened, maybe somebody's out of work, I can just slide them in, and then it's there for them. So let's open it up for questions and see if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, we've got some good ones. So we'll just ask in, so Les earlier was saying, well, if you're not using email, what do you use? And I think, you've mentioned you use Liscio, but can you just maybe flesh out like how you use that to communicate with your clients? Because Jeremy has a kind of a similar question. And his question was, I'm curious if this is strictly a mobile experience for clients, or if no email, how do I communicate files, questions, tasks, that kind of thing? So I think those are kind of two sides of the same question.
Yes, absolutely. Because Liscio is, it's like a portal where the client, it is a messaging system. So it's a secure messaging system. One of the things that I do with my clients when I onboard them or bring them onto Liscio for the first time is I encourage them to download the app for them, because that makes it so much easier. Because once they've got the app in and they put it on their phone and they've got the facial recognition, it's so simple because they're on their phone all the time. Even the attorneys, everybody's on the phone all the time. And it's an easy experience. Yes, they can put it on on their desktop as well. But the phone itself, and it keeps all the communication right there. So if I start a thread, it continues right there, and it's easy to search and find. So one of the things that I found with email, and I don't know if it's a Google thing or it's a user error, but when I go on to Google and I'm searching for something that maybe I know was an email transaction in the past, I used to go in and try to find something like, I know somebody sent me that. I'll go in and search and it never comes up. But with Liscio, I can just go into the client messaging page and then pull it up and find, like I can go back through the thread and find it. I can search for a word and find it. So it's so fast. It makes it easy. And then finding the documents is really easy because it's tagged. So you've got a tagging system. So finding documents is super fast.
Yeah. And I guess the only thing I would add to that, Lynda, is that I love what you said about, definitely have the client have the mobile app, because then it goes with them. And they will see your ping, and they'll see, oh, Lynda needs something. Oh, okay. And then if it's a document, they can just scan using their phone. But the desktop app is good for when they're working there and maybe they have a lot of documents to upload, or maybe they want to bring it in from Microsoft OneDrive or Google, or the document is on their computer. Mm-hmm. So it's like both, really. And then the same thing for accountants, right? How often do you use the mobile app for the accountants? Do you actually use the desktop?
I use mostly the desktop, but in the morning when I have my coffee, I go through that to see, because I work with a lot of people. I'm a cloud accountant. So I've got clients, out on the West Coast. So I get a lot of communications when I open up my phone in the morning, like, oh, look at everything was really active. And I just go through the client's list there and see. And a lot of times with my staff too, they're sending messages back and forth. And I think that's probably one of the best places. So I'm not trying to follow through a thread.
Yeah.
I'm on everyone. I can see the communication back and forth. And it allows me to let them have that free reign, because otherwise, if I had to monitor every single message between staff and client, I would go crazy. I wouldn't be able to grow, right? I'd be stuck. And Liscio allows me to grow because I'm able to let them have that. But if then something comes up or I get tagged in something, one of the other things I like about it is if you have to add somebody to a thread, it's so simple. I just, I forgot to add Sarah. I just put her name in and now she can see the entire thread, which is so, you can't really, you can do that with email, I guess, in a way. I don't know. I just don't, the way it's laid out, it's very simple so that she can get access to everything.
Yeah. Email is tricky for, I can't see what's in your email box. Right.
Exactly.
But
and then it comes to
see what's in Liscio. Yeah.
It comes to like dots sometimes too, which is like these dots. And I'm like, which dot do I open? And then sometimes I have trouble, like it does it backwards. So I have trouble figuring out the flow of it, because
email, you mean with the threading?
An email, right. On email, it just seems like when Google does the dots, and then when you expand the dots on Google, it's like, I know this seems like it's out of order sometimes I can't even see it at all because it's closed up in a dot. Or with Liscio, I've got the full view. I can go back in and you start new threads, and it's simple. I've had clients, they're really good about going into Liscio, and if they have an ask or a question of me, or they need something from me, say they need the balance sheet or whatever, they'll go in and they'll actually write the email or inside of Liscio, write the message to me. And they're good about like naming it and starting the message. So now I know that that's a different process. And then if they tag, and most of them will tag my team. So if I'm busy in a meeting, when I get around to looking at the message, it's already been handled. And that's the part that I really love.
That's really nice. You're in the loop, but you didn't have to do it.
I'm in the loop, right? I didn't need to be any more than that.
So we've got a couple more. So I'll answer this one for Les. Les is asking, is there going to be a demo today? We didn't actually have that as part of the presentation, Les, because we wanted to keep it so that no matter what tool you were using, you could get the benefit of Lynda's expertise. But if anyone does want a demo, it's super easy. I think if you go to the next slide, Lynda, there's like how to get, like if somebody wants a demo, there you go.
Yes.
Now, Jeremy's asking, so do clients need a license to download the app? Is it unlimited like my ShareFile account for clients? So I think asking about the sort of like the licensing and the pricing. So I can answer that. It's only the accountant seats, the bookkeeper seats, the firm. Those are the only people that need that you pay for. Everybody else is unlimited, and there's unlimited storage and clients.
That's the best part, is the unlimited storage.
And big files too.
Really big files.
Really,
like videos. I upload Zoom videos.
Right?
So if I'm working with a client, and this is a problem with regular email, if I'm training a client and I do a Zoom meeting and I want to share it with them, I pull that up into Liscio and now they have access, and you can make it private. So you can, if you did a one-on-one with somebody, you can actually make it private that they can only see that, which I love that piece
And
too.
it can go up to 5 gigabytes. And I think I was
Which is
talking
big.
with, it's huge. I was talking with Michelle Vilms, and she uses it to do a lot of cleanup work for her clients, which is the next webinar in our series is
Yes.
right. And so how to do client cleanups. And she loves it because she can get the QuickBooks desktop file.
Oh yeah, that's a big file too.
Right?
So
It's a big
yes. Yep.
file, and
And it's
then it's
secure.
secure. Yeah.
Secure.
Great minds think
Absolutely.
alike.
Because
Yeah.
security is, I mean, paramount at my firm. We deal with, we do NDAs and all that. And if I didn't have a way to securely send information, and as an accountant, you really want to own that piece of it, because even if you don't work with law firms and attorneys, if you're working with doing the payroll and things, you really have some sensitive documents. It is so important to make sure that the documents are they're done and moved back and forth with your client securely. And one of the biggest pain points I had prior to Liscio was asking for something and trying to give them a link and doing all the steps that were involved in that. And then the client would just send it back to me in email. So once you push them into this space, you put them in this quiet place that's so easy to use. And then you start the line of communication where they only have to go and drag and drop it in.
Yeah.
Then they're not putting it out there. And I love the fact that, because this is a time of the year that I would start to get some documents and be like, oh, please don't send it to me that way. But then now I don't have that issue anymore.
Yeah, they come in as readable PDFs, don't they?
They do.
Even if the client took the picture, it turns into a readable.
Yes.
So this is a really good question from Kirsten. I would love to hear your answer to this, Lynda. What are some best practices to prevent Liscio from becoming the nag?
I use tasks because the task feature, I use it because if there's documents that I need every month that I just can't get on my own through my own methods, I use the task feature, but you just end the task once you get it. Also, I don't feel like I've ever had that feeling of it being the nag, because I've always gotten my documents back. So it's not had a problem where I've had to keep asking. It's just because of the ease of it. If they open it up and they see it, that they can just put it in there. And if you encourage them to use the app as well as the desktop, I just haven't had that issue at all. I think that because of that, using the app itself and using the whole experience of using this place that's quiet and it's simple. I mean, that's the key too. Simplicity is so important when you're using you're not having to do a lot of clicks.
Yeah. And Kirsten's funny. She says, I have a client who's currently complaining. Mostly it's because they keep sending the wrong things back.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I guess clarity.
We need to do a 5 whys. We need to do a 5 whys exercise for Kirsten. Why is the client? We got the wrong document from the client. Why did we get the wrong document from the client? Yeah, I don't know, Kirsten. We can maybe help you with that offline. I'm not sure. But we generally don't hear from people that it's a problem because there's those automated reminders that come in and it just shows what they owe and what's overdue.
Right.
And then everything else, they're just gonna view on their app.
Right.
Yeah.
And automation, right? So now I'm not having to have my team remember to ask all the time, because we set that up in the beginning of what we need, and that makes it a lot easier. And then we also have logins, and we have a place for logins, which is nice as well.
Yeah.
There's just so many features. I love the notes. Like I do notes with Sarah because we're business partners, and we keep that space for like notes on the client. And that's a nice place to have too for uses of the program.
Yeah, this is a good question. How long do we have to wait until after tax season to have Liscio? No, I mean, actually, what we didn't talk about, Lynda, is that you don't have to make any changes in your back office to use Liscio. It's really just your front office. And now that I'm realizing, we didn't really clarify, this is really front office, right? It's like how you communicate with your clients. So the way that I'm thinking about it is if somebody is having trouble getting their documents, I actually heard of a tax firm that had hired somebody to they were in charge of getting the documents. Wouldn't it be better to give that person Liscio and say, okay, here, like at least get the documents in a way that your clients are going to be responding to rather than trying to get them to log into the portal? I was thinking that might be kind of a good thing.
Hey,
You
I
know,
hired somebody to make folders and put all my emails in folders, and that didn't work. I mean, I
right,
seriously hired somebody and paid somebody to take and
right.
organize me because I just felt so unorganized. I was just everything was out of place. So, and
Yeah,
then when you start to onboard, yeah, there's a part of this where you might have to educate your client. But I think once you bring them into the experience and do like a little one-on-one with them, it's so
yeah,
easy.
pretty
And then it
easy.
shows you care, right? You took the time. I think that the fact that they'll feel like they have a tool that they can handle the requests so easily that they'll feel like you really care about them and that you're not going to nag them anymore or badger them or
Yeah,
make barriers for them. You're going to help them make it easier to get the documents that you need, and that will help you finish their work. And that's what we're really up against now, is trying to get that work done
yeah.
because we have the deadlines coming.
And you can only do, it's really funny. Karen just popped in. She said she was on the phone with a client. She's doing 3 years of catch up and cleanup for, he asked when I would be finished. I asked when would he be providing
Yesterday.
the documents? Karen, you need to give your client Liscio if you haven't already. And then Les was asking about pricing. Les, it's pretty simple. It's pretty much just $50 per accountant seat. There's a small setup fee, and then you pay like for eDocs, but we give you a certain number to start off. So probably for pricing, just call in and talk with one of our sales consultants, because if you have a big firm, then you get all kinds of pricing breaks. But, you know, if you have it's just one person, it's just $50 a month. It's pretty simple. Okay, so we're nearing the end. Lynda, was there anything else? We have time for a couple more questions, but if there was there anything else you wanted to add? We didn't talk about Liscio Dispatch.
Oh yeah,
So
I just downloaded
yeah,
all that and pulled that in.
yeah,
That's really cool. You
it's
want to
pretty
talk about?
sexy. Do you want to talk about it or should I?
Go ahead. You can talk about it. I just downloaded it into my own friend. Actually, there's a few things I connected Zoom because there's a Zoom integration.
Yeah,
And then there's also Outlook, which is if you're using Microsoft Suite, Outlook integration, which is really cool as well, to have that
that's for when
available.
if you get an email and then you want to
Yep.
put it into
You want
Liscio.
to move it
Like
over,
a
right?
like a banker. I was thinking like a banker or a lawyer, or somebody that you haven't invited into that client's
Yep.
Liscio account. Then you can send it through, and it even sends in the attachments, which is pretty cool. But Liscio Dispatch, I think, is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So if you think about when you need to send a document to a client, right? So we've talked, Lynda, on this webinar all about clients sending documents to you
Mm-hmm.
and all your tips of getting them to send them to you and making it easy. But what about when you have to send a document to a client?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the current way, right? You have to bring up the document, save it as a PDF down to your computer, then put it in your portal, then compose the link, then send the email, then hope that your client logs in and opens your email, right? We already realized they
Yeah.
don't always open the emails. Open the email, log into the portal, and download the document, right? So a lot of steps, right? With Liscio Dispatch, as long as that client's on Liscio and you've invited them in and
You
created
invited
their
them.
account,
Mm-hmm.
you can go from anything, you can print a PDF. So anything that you can print a PDF, you just print to Liscio, you
Print to
use
Liscio.
Liscio Dispatch, and it goes directly through to your clients. So like when you're sending documents to clients, you're going to save a lot of time too. So, and then what does the client get? They get a little notice, ping, Lynda has sent me a document. Oh, and if it's something
That's
they
what I've been
have to,
waiting for.
if it's
Exactly.
something they have to sign, then they can just sign it on their phone with their
On their
finger.
phone. So you saved
Yeah,
a lot of steps there, which
a lot
is
of steps.
why we want to have the technology in place for our clients, because we want to make it less clicks. It's all about less clicks, less steps to get to the same point. I mean, that's one of the things we do in our firm. We take people off of some systems that I've looked at some of the ways they do their work, and I'm like, my goodness, it's a lot of steps. It's better to get to a place where you can do less steps, less errors, and you get your documents to them. And security, I mean, you could probably talk about the security here, but I mean, the pricing's great, but the security of Liscio.
Bank level. If you do online banking, it's the same security as you would have with it's fully encrypted, your bank level. There's a couple more questions. So Liscio Dispatch, Jeremy, is a little add-on, but it's not an additional price. You install it onto your hard drive, onto your computer, and it's like a little, like a printer. It's almost like a printer driver, really.
Yeah,
Right?
it's very simple.
Yeah. And then Cindy, yes, we will be sending out the recorded document. Jerica is asking about, can Excel documents sent as well? Lindsay,
Yep. For right now, Listio Dispatch is just PDF documents at the moment, but I do believe there are plans to actually extend that to other file types.
yeah. Jeremy, I don't know if it's an extension or a driver. It's a widget. What is a widget? Is that an extension or a driver? I don't know. Listio Dispatch is a little widget that you put.
Yeah, I don't believe it's a driver per se. I believe it's just an application that you actually download to your computer.
Yeah, it wasn't a print driver.
Yeah, I was saying it was like that. See, this is why I shouldn't be answering questions. I can't see. Is it Christine is asking? Is it? I'm sorry. I'm going to get the first name wrong because I can't see the beginning of it. Can multiple PDFs be sent at the same time? So, Lindsay,
Yes.
I know we can do that through Listio, but do we do that through Dispatch?
Dispatch,
Can Dispatch
yes.
send? Okay.
Yep, you can send multiple at a time, no problem. And for those of you wondering about like how do you get Listio Dispatch, when you actually use Listio, you actually just go straight to your profile section and you're able to download it right from there. So when you get your account set up, it's just one of the steps that you'll take in kind of the setup.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. We'll make sure you do because we want everybody to have Listio Dispatch. We think of it as like the Hoover, the vacuumer. It's the way that you vacuum files in really
and
fast.
you guys have a great support. I love the way when you onboarded me originally, because you did these little short trainings that helped me learn better, I think, because you just did little snippets of like 15-minute trainings and we scheduled them out and they were simple, come on board, and with getting the setup, you guys do the setup and you said there was a small fee, but to get the file set up, I didn't have to do the work. And if you're really tax time, but you're really thinking about implementing this, that was worth it too.
Yeah, and the setup is really fast. Like I think people are always worried because it feels like it's a big lift to add something new. I was thinking about it and the gain, if you even just get just one client to send you all their documents and you can do their returns quickly or their tax returns or their bookkeeping or their accounting, whatever, quickly and just like get your work done. I know you bill more than $50 for that, right? So it's like, it's one of these things. Oh, and then Christina's asking, I'm sorry, I butchered your name earlier, Christina. So for my receipt bank question, would Listio just be a reminder for the receipt? Then they would upload to Receipt Bank. Lynda, do you use Receipt Bank with any of your clients? Can you answer that?
We do. We use Receipt Bank a lot. And that's you upload it to Receipt Bank, but you could remind the person through tasks if they.
Okay.
We have a client that we have to ask all the time. They do a lot of cash deposits, and we have to have them come on board. And once a week, he uploads the documents so that we know who paid the cash because it's an immigration firm. But the same thing, if you need like a reminder to remind them, but usually you would have them upload the receipts to Receipt Bank so you can code them so they go into QuickBooks.
Yeah, that would be the flow. Yeah, that would be the flow. Yeah.
But you could also, if you wanted to get them out for whatever reason, I mean, the tagging system inside of Listio is great. So you get all your documents in Receipt Bank, but I mean, the tagging, I love the tagging. It's like if I want to find, IOLTA statement from March of, especially like that person that has 3 years of documents. I cannot think of a better way because you can pull them in, date them, and now they're there and they're like that. You're going to find them because that's the problem. Sometimes when you throw them into a Google Drive or something, it's like, oh, where the heck is that?
Where is it? And also, I don't know about you guys, but I have like 5 different Google Drives. What drive is it on?
Too. You win.
Well, I get invited to other, I just like, okay, where is it? Where did I put it?
I have trouble in Google Drive too. Even in my own files, I'm always looking. I don't know why I have trouble with that, but I do have trouble. But I don't have trouble with Listio either because tagging is really simple to find the document.
Well, I want to thank everybody. We're at time and I want to be very respectful for Lynda and everybody else. But thank you everybody for your attention and all of your questions. I'll just have Lindsay share the quiz again at the end there, and we will be sending out the recording to all of you. And as I said, if you're just even on the fence, if you're just thinking, I'd like to see how this might work for us, just reach out and schedule a demo, because I think this could save you a lot of time. And we have a lot of really, really happy accountants using our system, and And again, thank you, Lynda, for your time. You're
Thank you.
just,
Thank you
you're
for
the
having me.
best. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, we're gonna say goodbye, but thank you all for your time, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye, everybody.